Picture a dollhouse, an innocent gift for a young girl mutating into a gateway to a realm brimming with malevolent energy. This is far from the regular child's play. Envision a petite, intricate dollhouse, exquisitely handcrafted, presented with love and warmth to a radiant young girl on her 7th birthday. Imagine her wide eyes, shimmering with sheer joy and unfiltered anticipation at the sight of her own miniature kingdom, a piece of the real world quantized into her tiny palms. Every room in it was a reflective surface, mirroring her tangible world on its walls and furniture, right down to the dainty porcelain dolls that inhabited it. Her young heart pulsed with delight, and her imagination soared high with boundless possibilities. She played, she laughed, she reveled in the wholesome pleasure of innocent make-believe. The dollhouse was her cherished sanctuary, a world where she was the omnipotent, scripting tales, etching memories, and threading dreams into the fabric of her make-believe world. Yet, as days morphed into weeks and weeks into months, the dollhouse underwent perplexing alterations. The dolls, once stationary and compliant, rearranged their stance when unobserved. Their eyes, once painted and inert, began to gleam in the dark with an inhuman glow. Whispers, soft of sinister, resonated from the toy house in the quietude of the night, like secret conversations not meant for human ears. Gradually, the girl's laughter, once bouncing cheerily around the house, waned. Her once dazzling eyes dulled, replaced with a haunted expression of fear. The dollhouse, a one-time source of unadulterated joy, had become a hotbed for an unnerving, ominous silence. It was as if the dollhouse had sprung to life, its tiny denizens engaging in covert antics, morphing the innocent play into a chilling spectacle. Night after night, the girl would awaken to find the dolls in uncanny positions, each more disturbing than the last. Their eyes would glow ominously in the darkness, and the whispers would grow steadily louder, their tone more menacing with each passing day. The house was no longer a child's plaything, rather a horror stage, a gateway to a realm reeking of pure evil. But as the dolls began to move autonomously and the whispers swelled in the air, a horrifying truth surfaced. This was no ordinary plaything. Days morphed into an endless cycle of dread. The house, once resonant with laughter, now held captive by an eerie silence. It was no longer a peaceful silence akin to a serene night, but an oppressive quiet that choked the very soul of the house. The walls, once a riot of joyful cacophony, now stood frigid and lifeless. The once vibrant colors that graced them now appeared run down under the burden of despair. Each passing day, the silence seemed to amplify, becoming more pronounced, turning the once jubilant abode into a vessel of impending doom. The laughter that used to permeate the hallways and the playful echoes of a child's harmless games were now buried deep within a barren present. The jovial sound of a child's laughter was now replaced by an ominous stillness, a silence that forewarned something dark. Something yet to the child, once an epitome of joy and tranquility, began to display signs of a chilling transformation. Her once bright eyes, full of curiosity and innocent mischief, now appeared dull and lifeless, mirroring a dark presence, sinister and petrifying. At times, they even turned pitch black, a sight that was truly disturbing. Her radiant smile, which used to warm their hearts, was replaced by a grim expression. She began to utter incomprehensible phrases in a deep, scary voice that was not her own, adding to their horror. The harmless dollhouse, an emblem of innocence, had now evolved into a symbol of sheer terror, as if it had become a gateway, a portal to a world beyond comprehension, a realm inhabited by something malevolent and inhuman. The parents, once blissfully lost in their daughter's laughter and games, were now drowning in desperation. They watched helplessly as their little sunshine of their lives slowly transformed into a vessel for something dark and sinister. Their hearts ached, their eyes brimmed with tears, and their spirits broke as they were forced to confront a horrifying reality. They were left with no choice but to confront the bone-chilling truth. Their daughter was possessed by something inhuman. In desperation, they sought help, but could anyone spare their daughter from the wicked spirits? The plea echoed through their hearts, resonating with a tangible sense of fear and dread. The parents were frantic, a wild terror deeply etched on their faces as they scoured the city for anyone who could provide a glimmer of hope. They sought the counsel of religious figures of all faiths, reaching out to priests, imams, rabbis, and spiritual healers, hoping someone could sever the sinister bond that had ensnared their child. Each phone call and every knock on the doors of supposed specialists was a desperate cry for salvation. Fear-stricken, Their desperation intensified with each unsuccessful attempt to free their precious child from the sinister spirits. Their home, their sanctuary, had morphed into a battleground against entities they couldn't fathom. Night after night, they bore witness to a spectacle of supernatural forces playing out before them, their daughter at the epicenter of this hair-raising reality. Each intervention, each plea to the heavens was met with a chilling resistance. Exorcisms, often considered the last resort, transformed into battlegrounds where the darkness held the upper hand. The room would turn ice cold, a bitter chill that pierced their bones. Objects would fly around propelled by an unseen force, turning the once sacred rituals into chaotic confrontations. The spiritual chants turned into futile whispers against the spirit's wrath. Screams and pleadings filled the once peaceful abode, only to be swallowed by the deafening silence that followed every failed attempt. Paranormal experts, men and women knowledgeable in the inexplicable, were summoned. With their intricate gadgets and years of experience, they too ventured to the child, aiming to cut off the connection between the spirits and their innocent victim. Yet their efforts seemed futile against the tempest of spiritual energy that faced them. It was as if they were trying to stave off a ferocious storm with a mere umbrella. Their scientific knowledge and rational explanations fell apart in the onslaught of the supernatural, leaving them as helpless as the terrified parents. Their heart-wrenching journey was a testament to their resolve, a testament to a love that refused to surrender, a testament to a hope that refused to be extinguished. Yet despite their relentless efforts and countless sleepless nights, the spirits seemed invincible. Each effort to free their daughter only seemed to reinforce the spirit's grip. In a final desperate act, they decided to obliterate the dollhouse. This was not a rash decision, but rather a calculated choice born of sleepless nights filled with panic and fear. Their hearts pounded wildly, each beat reverberating in the eerie silence that consumed the room. Approaching the menacing dollhouse, a twisted symbol of youthful innocence corrupted by an insidious force, they felt a crippling dread. Every step toward the dread-imbued toy was a war against the terror that sought to engulf them. An eerie sense of impending doom seemed to seep from the dollhouse itself, chilling them to their very core. The atmosphere was heavy with malevolence, as if the air itself had been poisoned by the malignant spirit housed within the tiny abode. The air thickened and pressed down upon them, infected with a pervasive, unspoken terror that permeated every corner of the room. Strands of icy fear curled around them, winding tighter and tighter, threatening to shatter their sanity. The shadows morphed into grotesque figures in a horrifying performance. Under the dim light, they danced like demon-possessed marionettes, mandated by unseen puppeteers that lurked in the shadows. The monstrous silhouettes stretched and writhed, creating a terrifying spectacle that filled the mind with dread and horror. Then, the walls began blood seeped from cracks, running down in a grotesque parody of tears, while the house's silence was punctured by the maniacal laughter of dolls. Each cackle was a haunting symphony of voices that escaped from the confines of the cursed dollhouse. Each word, a sharp dagger stabbing at their hearts. The normalcy around them morphed into a chilling nightmare, distorting reality into a macabre tableau of horror. Familiar objects in the room twisted into ominous forms, each a potential danger lurking in the shadows. The walls, stained with blood, seemed to close in on them, fostering a claustrophobic environment that was frightfully palpable. The father's grip tightened around the hammer, the cold metal a stark reminder of the impending task. With unseen hands seemingly pulling them back, they fought against the invisible force. Their resolve was a lone flame flickering in the enveloping darkness, refusing to be snuffed out. As the father raised the hammer, a bone-chilling voice echoed, "You can't get rid of us that easily." Then darkness descended. The ominous statement lingered, a chilling testament to the unstoppable terror they had unwittingly unleashed. In the end, they were unable to save their daughter. A voice begins, heavy with a sorrow that seeps into each syllable. The room, once filled with laughter and joy, now echoed with the haunting remnants of a family torn apart by an insidious force. The parents, their faces etched with lines of despair and defeat, made a heartbreaking decision. They chose to leave their daughter behind, her soul now trapped within the confines of the possessed dollhouse. The father's hand trembled as he turned the doorknob, the cold metal a stark reminder of the life they were leaving behind. As they stepped outside, they could see the house engulfed in flames. The doll's laughter echoed in the night, a chilling symphony of voices that was a testament to the terror they had unleashed. Each cackle was a haunting reminder of the innocence they had lost, a sharp dagger stabbing at their hearts. The parents stood, their bodies silhouetted against the raging inferno that was once their home. Their hearts ached with guilt and sorrow, knowing they had failed their daughter. The weight of their decision bore down on them, threatening to shatter the last vestiges of their sanity. As the house burned, they could still hear their daughter's voice. The voice continues, each word a chilling reminder of their loss. Forever trapped in the possessed dollhouse. The scene ends on this chilling note, the parents' grief echoing out into the night as the last embers of the house flicker and die. The doll's laughter is the last sound heard before everything fades to black.